Dark comets may be the biggest extinction level event that our Earth faces. 2 days ago, the Lucy spacecraft has been launched for the Jupiter, the Trojan, Centaur, comets and asteroids, and the exoplanets that are out in the Jovian planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, and they have to be studied because of the fact that Jupiter may not only be protecting Earth, but it may be pulling asteroids and comets towards us. But now, concerning these dark comets, there are many cosmic catastrophes that could do us in, completely irrespective of anything that happens here on Earth. A star could pass into our solar system, swallowing up our planet whole, or eject us from orbit, causing us to permanently freeze over. A supernova or gamma ray burst could go off too close to us, disintegrating life on Earth's surface, or as we know it at least once before, what happened 65 million years ago, a large fast-moving object like a comet or asteroid that brought the extinction of the dinosaurs and other fauna and flora. Asteroids and comets such as these could have a catastrophic collision impacting the Earth. At least if we're prepared, we ought to see one coming and be able to take preparations to protect our planet. But what if there's no chance? What if an incoming comet is somehow unseen? David Bertoni heard about that possibility and wants to know. There have been a few asteroids and meteors, asteroids and comets that have come without us knowing them. Every 75 years, Halley's Comet comes by. Now, he says, I recently came across a few articles regarding dark comets, and to say the least, it freaks me out. Is Napier right about the dark comets? Are they truly a threat to us on Earth? We have lots of threats to life on Earth, and getting struck by a large, fast-moving, unexpected object is certainly among them. Bill Napier is a scientist who studies potentially hazardous objects from outer space. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. So space agencies are studying potentially hazardous objects from outer space heading towards us, and even the near-Earth objects. What about these dark comets? Are they truly a threat to us on Earth? We have lots of threats of life, and getting struck by a large, fast-moving, unexpected object is certainly among them. Napier is a scientist who studies potentially hazardous objects from outer space, and he rightly points out that while most efforts to catalog the potential dangers to Earth focus on near-Earth objects, like the asteroids that leave the main belt and cross Earth's orbit, that might not be a good reflection on what's actually likely to get us, nor is it necessarily an asteroid orbiting interior to Jupiter or a comet orbiting exterior to the orbit of Neptune, just waiting to get perturbed and flung into the inner solar system. There are plenty of objects orbiting in between the orbits of the 4 gas giants, known as centaurs, that could be hurtled inward without any warning, and most of them have not been catalogued. Napier postulates that many of these centaurs may be invisible to us even after being flung inward until it's far too late because we can't see them. But this brings up an important question. What could render a comet dark or otherwise unseeable? It isn't simply going to be a comet that comes towards us from the outer solar system that's terrible at reflecting light. Sure, a centaur could have had all its volatile ices boiled off over billions of years, reducing its reflectivity tremendously. As obvious as that seems, the amount of light the sun emits is so extreme that even a medium-sized comet or a centaur that absorbed 99.9% of the sun's light would still be easily visible at the distance of Saturn. Moreover, comets tend to be made up of mostly ices, which are highly reflective and which get brought to the surface as the comet heats up. The only thoroughly dark bodies in our solar system are more like our moon, which still reflects light very brightly, as any casual watcher of the night sky will tell you, and today we have a full moon. Now, an object that was as dark as any naturally occurring, abundant elements or compounds would still be visible from its reflected sunlight, particularly if you looked at the infrared portion of the spectrum. But there are other possibilities to consider. What if an incoming, highly reflective comet were oriented bizarrely? What if it was quite icy, but reflected all the sunlight that struck it away from Earth, like some kind of strange crystal? It's less obvious, but that wouldn't work either. When an object like that entered the planet-containing portion of the solar system, it would heat up, and the heat acting on the ices causes the development of a long tail that points away from the sun, the comet tail. And this will be easily observed from one of many professional or even amateur all-sky surveys before too much time has passed. But perhaps nature will conspire to make that tail unseeable from our point of view. In order for the tail to be hidden, the incoming comet would need to be directed straight at us, aligned so that the sun, the earth, and the comet made a straight line. And if the tail points directly away from us and is hidden behind the comet, that would render everything invisible, and we would not be able to see it, right? Right. Unfortunately, that's wrong too. Comets' tails don't simply point away from the sun. They spread outwards away from the comet. Even a head-on comet like this would have a visible comma around it. Again, amateur or professional astronomers would catch this quickly, but there's a real danger of an invisible comet, and it's very different from the form that Napier envisions in any of his scenarios. Imagine, if you will, that a bright, reflective tail and comma containing comet were headed right for us. Is there any direction it could approach us that you can think of that would render it completely unable to be seen? There is, from the direction of the sun. And that's how a lot of the recent comets were found, coming from the sun, and they were found by amateur astronomers. Some of them made their own telescopes, but the big space agency telescopes are too big to dip down towards the horizon where the sun would rise or set, so they would not be able to catch or see these incoming comets. Now, telescopes do not dare point too close to the sun, even from space, since even a glimmer of direct sunlight will ruin and fry your optical system. That's another reason they don't do that. They don't want to fry their optical systems. If any object, comet, asteroid, centaur, even a kicked up fragment from a collision with Mercury, anything either approaching the sun from behind it, from our perspective, or were slingshotting around it, the right trajectory could send it hurtling towards Earth. This is part of the reason why having NASA stereo satellites online is so important. At this point, the technology to deflect an incoming asteroid or comet a significant amount in a short amount of time has not been developed. We don't have the ability to protect Earth from anything that's about to impact us. So it's not been developed, but at least by having a set of observatories at different locations in the solar system, we could see everything that was headed for us. In the future, more sensitive infrared all-sky surveys will make a far more complete census of the centaurs in our solar system, and the launch with Y-FIRST in the 2020s will help us map potentially hazardous objects to much greater distances than we've presently done. But the odds of a distant object being hurtled into us after being perturbed for the first time are exceedingly small. The much scarier prospect is of a long-period comet being kicked ever so slightly into Earth's orbital path. Comet Swift-Tuttle, which gave rise to the Perseids, is the single most dangerous object known to humanity and has a chance to impact us with more than 20 times the energy of the legendary dinosaur killer in the 4040s. So that's about 2,300 years from now. But we've got plenty of time until that might happen. In the meantime, take heart in the fact that except for the sun-directed asteroids and comets, we can see everything large that could come headed our way. And if we're lucky enough to make it as a civilization for another 1,000 years or so, our technology will likely have advanced to the point where perhaps asteroid and comet deflection is not such a daunting task after all. And this is from the Extinct Protocol Unbended Reality. I'll leave a link below for you for this. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support.